Sorry, my schedule has been insane. I'm getting ready to take off, and I'm going to take you guys with me behind the scenes. I'm getting ready to take off to 14 cities in about 18 or 19 days. I'll be in Dallas, LA, going to Australia. Two big events in Australia, one in Sydney, one in Melbourne. And then I head to Singapore and then over to London for the first live experience that the Ultimate Human has ever done. I want to try to get away from just stage talks and podcasts and lectures, not away from podcasts, but less experiential and be much more interactive, get more proximal to my audience, have real experiences. I know that people forget what you say, but they truly never forget how you make them feel. So let's dive into what's new in the community this month. There are two new guides that just went live. I hope you guys are using these resources. I really put a lot of work, and so does my team, into these resources. I want you to get value for your $97 a month. It does not go lost on me that $97 a month is a lot of money for many people that are on here. And I want to make sure that you are getting more than you expect in value. So I hope that you're doing the Ultimate Human University. I hope that you're downloading the guides, the mold, the mycotoxin guides, the heavy metal guides. If you're not, please start to use this community. Help me build this community so that we can create a true movement in this country. So there's two new guides that went live. There's the Parasite Protocol and the Thyroid Reboot. These really work. You might have been witness to some of the testimonials that have come live on our last few sessions, people that had Hashimoto's that no longer have Hashimoto's, people that had hypothyroid that are now off their medication and only taking supplements for support. I cover both hyperthyroid and hypothyroid. So you'll find all things movement. It's research backed information, videos from me. There is a study guide, a quick quiz. There's habit trackers. So the info actually sticks. Remember, if we don't change our habits, nothing else matters. Me just getting on here and educating and giving information is phenomenal. It's great for the brain. It's chicken soup for the soul. But if we don't implement it, really nothing else matters. So we can choose convenience and stay stagnant, or we can keep learning and applying. And I promise you, I'm always learning and applying. I was flying back from LA last night. I went Tijuana to LA and then flew home last night. I read 3 new amazing clinical trials. I read the entire MAHA report release on autism. I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. Infant formula, screen times early in the life cycle of a young infant, and sadly, as many of us expected, vaccines. These are correlated relationships, not causal relationships, but at least we are asking the hard questions. So big welcome to our brand new members, and welcome back to the OGGs. There's some of you that have been here since day one, so I'm so fired up that you're still here. Thank you so much for your support and your trust and confidence in me. Keep giving me your suggestions on how I can improve the VIP community. I want you getting thousands of dollars in value every month for your $97 a month. So here's how these calls go for those of you that are not familiar. The first half, I'm going to hit you with the pre-submitted questions. These were distilled down from commonly asked questions or issues that I think specifically deserve my attention. And the second half is live Q&A. Just raise your hand. We're going to go in order. I promise I'm going to get to as many of you as I can. When I call on you, you'll see a 5-minute timer. And that keeps us moving so that more voices get in. I'm not trying to limit your time directly with me. I am trying to service as many of you as we possibly can. If I miss you, drop it in the Ask Gary Anything chat on the left side of the community, or submit it ahead of the next call, because replays and notes will be posted under monthly calls when we wrap, and I will get to your question. I spend hours every single day answering questions from my VIP community. I don't even take them from the general public anymore because I get about 1,600 a day. So the volume is just too much for me to respond to. But you as VIPs, I promise you, I will get to your question. I will get you the practitioner that you need if there's something specific that you're dealing with, but I will take the time to personally answer your question. Okay. Um, Replays and notes will be posted under monthly calls as soon as we wrap. And just a quick disclaimer before we get started, everything I shared today is for informational purposes only. It's not medical advice. As always, you should consult with your doctor or your healthcare provider before you make any changes to your healthcare routine. I am not a physician. I am a human biologist. I'm not licensed to practice medicine. So please don't take it as medical advice. All right, let's get to the pre-submitted questions. Jessica Christensen says, my daughter 5 with single ventricular coronary hypertension or coronary heart disease. She's had 3 open heart surgeries beyond healthy eating. What supports her heart, immunity, and overall health? Here's something that you can do. You can make a really, really good chocolate milk for her from Body Health's Cardiometabolic. The adult dosage is a full scoop. So the adult dosage, excuse me, is based on a weight of about 120 pounds or more. So take that scoop at 120 pounds, divide it by your daughter's weight. I'm just going to make up a number for a second to make it easy. Let's say that she's 40 pounds. I know she's not, but let's say she's 40 pounds. You would use 1/4 of the amount. Does that make sense? Or I'm sorry, you would use 1/3 of the amount. So take the full scoop made for a 120-pound adult and divide that by your child's weight to get the amount of that scoop that you would use. I would put that in a coconut milk, unless they do not have a dairy allergy, then you can use raw dairy. Raw goat's milk is probably the best. It's closest to infant formula. So if you can get your hands on raw goat's milk, which is hypoallergenic in the majority of cases, even people that are lactose intolerant very, very often tolerate raw goat's milk well. I just did a podcast with Barbara O'Neill. She's like the grandmother of biohacking. It was amazing in London. Did that air yet? Oh, it drops today. Okay, so my podcast with Barbara O'Neill drops today. She actually suggests that mothers replace infant formula with raw goat's milk. So take a little bit of goat's milk, mix that in there. That cardiometabolic has everything that you need to support healthy cardiovascular and cardiometabolic function, especially for children. Sally Rich says, my husband, 59, with decades of pesticide and chemical exposure, which labs and biomarker to assess the impact, and what repair detox protocols? Super important that you download the heavy metal and mold detox guides. These are 8 and 12-week detox guides. They are step by step. It will walk you through the testing. My preference is a total detox test called Vibrant Wellness. It's a urine test. You can do it at home. This is why I love it. Have your husband collect first urine in the morning. You send it in to the lab. It gives you the toxic profile, and then follow those detox guides. They're meant to be guides. Follow those detox guides, and you will actually see those toxic compounds, including glyphosate, paraquat. A lot of these will have names you don't recognize, but there is because they go by each of the chemicals that are in these, not by the brand name. And so you'll see different chemicals in there. They're polyfluoroalkyls, other chemicals, hard to pronounce. But in the Vibrant test, it gives you a layman's term explanation of what they are so that you can address them. And then follow those detox guides. The Vibrant Wellness Test, no affiliation, by the way. The Vibrant Wellness Test is one of my favorites. I've done it 4 or 5 times. I'm about to do it again just because I did maybe the most aggressive blood filtration. I actually had an intrajugular, can't even see the scar anymore. There it is. I had an intrajugular catheter inserted, and I filtered my blood 15 times on day 1 and 15 times on day 2. I got to tell you, the lights have come on like I can't even imagine. I had slight fuzzy vision in my right eye. That is completely gone now. I don't wear readers. I have perfect vision in my left eye, but when I read things that are this size, I can read them. but the small font sometimes on my iPhone, there's a little halo around with my right eye. There's a little halo around some of those words. After the detox, it's crystal clear. So Bill Gons says 10x Genetics, MTRR yellow, CompT MTHFR yellow. Doc recommends levothyroxine for thyroid issues. Of course he does. Where should I start inside the VIP? So I have a thyroid, which is one of that I just discussed. I discussed both hypo and hyperthyroid. This would lead to hypothyroid. Let me give you an explanation. I've done this before. The thyroid gland, which is located right here in your neck, produces two hormones. It produces thyroid hormone T4 and it produces thyroid hormone T3. Only the little known fact about the thyroid is it only produces 20% of the thyroid hormone T3. So where does the rest of it come from? The majority of it is deiodinized in the liver, but also the gut and the periphery. And you require things like selenium, selenomethionine. You need the complex of B vitamins. You know what's interesting that just came out of the MAHA report, VIPs? For 10 years, I have been on the folic acid bandwagon saying get folic acid out of your diet and take methylfolate or folinic acid, which is what your body converts this to. And guess what the number one recommendation now is for pregnant women and young children and infants? To take folinic acid. They even turned folinic acid into a prescription so a doctor can write you a script covered by Medicaid or Medicare and your health insurance for methylfolate or folinic acid. Hallelujah. I'm so excited about this because I've been admonished by the OBGYN community. I've been attacked by a number of doctors for saying that we shouldn't be taking synthetic folic acid, which, by the way, is a man-made chemical, does not exist anywhere in nature. You cannot find it anywhere on the surface of the earth. And somehow, this synthetic chemical that didn't even exist until 1993 is the secret to a healthy pregnancy and a healthy young fetal development. That is patently false. And now they finally made the announcement yesterday that it's folinic acid and methylfolate. So things are moving in the right direction. I was really, not only was I vindicated, but I was really excited to see that the Health and Human Services and the CDC are now going to make these recommendations. So that's where I would start. I would start with the hypothyroid guide. You're probably going to see things like thorn thyrosin, selenium, thiamine, some of the things that our body needs to convert thyroid hormone T4 into thyroid hormone T3. Diane Klosser, what age-related changes? Let me go back to thyroid for one more second and just make a very specific comment. Not to get hyper scientific on you guys, but what happens is the thyroid hormone T4 leaves the thyroid. It goes down to the liver. When it reaches the liver, T4 is converted into T3. That specific process requires iodine. It is not governed by methylation. However, methylation is the precursor that feeds that cycle. When we take in selenium, it becomes something called selenomethionine. Selenomethionine is converted into something called selenocysteine. Selenocysteine is the main enzymatic catalyst for this conversion. So in other words, without this nutrient, we don't have the catalyst to deiodinize specifically methylcobalamin and vitamin B9, not folic acid, methylfolate or folinic acid. Astounding that this has now come full circle after I've been pounding this drum for 10 years. So Diane Klosser says, what age-related changes happen to make male reproductive what age-related changes happen to make male reproductive health, and what should wives watch for if he avoids urology visits? Okay. Three things to watch for if your husband's not having regular urological visits. One is decreased urinary flow, the actual flow. So did it go from a fire hose to a garden hose, from a garden hose to a leaky faucet, from a leaky faucet to a dripping faucet? Pulsing to get urine out of the bladder and the urethra rather than having the urinary flow happen naturally. That constantly having to, not to be too graphic, but squirt, pause, squirt, pause, squirt, pause. This also happens in women. That is a sign generally of something called BPH, benign prostatic hyperplasia, or inflammation in the prostate. The prostate is like an orange. It has a peel around it, and then inside it has a soft, fuzzy core. This soft, fuzzy core, the prostate, is highly susceptible to all of these environmental toxins that we talk about all the time. Because think about it, where is the prostate? It is on the exit. So after the kidneys filter the waste from the blood, they dump it into the bladder, and that exits through the prostate, out the urethra, into the commode. So on its way, that means that there's a constant flow of these trapped toxins. And so very often they will leak into the prostate, cause the prostate to swell, and squeeze down on that little hose, on that urethra, so that it impedes the flow of the prostate. So detoxification can be very, very good for the prostate. I find that taking H2 tab, I would increase the amount of H2 tab if you have compromised urinary flow to 2 to 3 in the morning in water. Make sure that he is taking minerals, the Baja Gold mineral salt. Also, you can add perfect aminos, but that's not specific to the prostate. For prostate, liquid turmeric and curcumin, resveratrol, and minerals. Those are super good for the kidney, and Baja Gold has all 91 of those trace minerals. And increase the number of H2 tab in the water in the morning to help flush those things from the prostate. Because remember, the hydrogen tablets are selective antioxidants. So they will not only reduce the oxidative stress, but they will not reduce it to the point where it actually starts to cause problems. Most other antioxidants, we can't control how much oxidative stress they're reducing. So I am such a huge fan of hydrogen gas and hydrogen water. Angela Fusco says, which vitamin supplements lower LDL and raise HDL to avoid medication? So HDL is raised by really healthy fats. So there are two essential fatty acids. Okay, there's a DHA and an EPA fatty acid. You can get these from a really good fish oil supplement. My preference is a krill oil supplement. The smaller, colder, and deeper the fish, the better. So sardines, mackerels, the fish oils that are made from small fish, sardines and mackerels, krill, those are really good cold water small fish, and those are excellent sources of these omega-3 fatty acids, which help to raise HDL cholesterol. One of the best ways to lower LDL cholesterol is to decrease your intake of high glycemic carbohydrates, not saturated fat, high glycemic carbohydrates, sugars, high fructose corn syrup, sugary drinks, lots of things like rice, pasta, breads, cereals, grains. These can actually raise those levels. It's the polar opposite of what you think. By the way, the new food pyramid is beginning to come out. I've been working on some things behind the scenes, Dr. Hyman, bunch of folks, and you're going to see the entire USDA food pyramid literally get turned on its head. We're going to take that triangle and stick it in the ground the opposite direction. We have got to stop blaming the bread. Blaming the butter for what the bread did. So I hope that answered your question. Wa Adams, WAA Adams. What to do about persistent bad breath despite brushing and flossing. So, three things for persistent halitosis. Probably the best would be tongue scraping with a copper tongue scraper, and then oil pulling. So, get a little jar of extra virgin coconut oil. It's dirt cheap. Actually, believe it or not, Costco actually makes a really good or it sells a really good extra virgin coconut oil. It might even be branded Kirkland, but it's not their brand. But it makes a really good extra virgin coconut oil. Take about a half a tablespoon of that, put it in your mouth, warm it up, and oil pull. Swish it between your teeth. You don't have to gargle with it. Just keep it in your mouth for 3, 4, 5 minutes while you're doing other things, and then spit it into the trash can, not down your sink, and make sure that you are tongue scraping. Halitosis comes from the gas that is the byproduct of bacterial fermentation. Bacteria tend to collect on the back of our tongue and on the sides of our tongue. They get down into what's called the fimbriae or the cilia of our tongue. They get trapped in there, and then they outgas, just like methane in our gut. So when bacteria are processing things, they ferment things. So in order for that bacteria to live, it's taking little particles of food and other things from sugars mainly from the surface of your tongue, and it's creating a gas. And that's the gas that you're smelling. So tongue scraping and oil pulling are amazing for chronic halitosis. Claire Cameron says, my father-in-law with Parkinson's, which is not genetic. Thank you for saying that. Any recommendations? Red light wavelength to look at, do a toxin test. So Parkinson's is a neuroinflammatory condition, just like most early onset cognitive decline. Three things in order of importance. One, you have to lower the sugars. Um, you know, Alzheimer's is type 3 diabetes. It is insulin resistance in the brain. When, in the brain, most endocrinologists don't even know this. The brain is so crack addicted to carbohydrate that it makes its own insulin. It's not just the pancreas that makes insulin. The brain makes its own insulin. And it makes insulin to digest carbohydrate, and it gets crack addicted to carbohydrate. In the body, there are plenty of places for us to store excess carbohydrate. Excess sugar and carbohydrate gets stored in the liver as something called glycogen. It gets stored in the muscles as glycogen. There's no storage capacity in the brain. So where do we pack this excess carbohydrate and sugar that's being fermented? We pack it into something called the neurosynaptic junction. And then this leads to something called amyloid plaques and neurofibrillary tangles. So type 3 diabetes, which is insulin resistance in the brain, you're welcome to Google it. Type 3 diabetes is highly linked to Alzheimer's, dementia, all forms of cognitive decline, and even Parkinson-like symptoms. The second thing I would do is I would do a full viral panel. Very often people have Parkinsonisms and do not have Parkinson's. What does that mean? There are a lot of characteristics of Parkinson's: pill rolling tremors, dysdiadochokinesia, mood flattening, things like that. This is not a loss of memory. It is a loss of access to your memory. There's a difference. I'm going to say that one more time. Very often, this is not a loss of memory. It is a loss of access to our memory, and access can be restored. So lower the glycemic profile. Red light therapy is excellent. There are transcranial red light therapy helmets. One is a Weber. One is by a company called Neuronic. These look like bicycle helmets. They're very light. You put them on your head. Both of my parents use them. You run a setting, and it actually puts transcranial lasers that go through the skin, through the scalp, the actual skull, and bathe the brain in red light. There is also a peptide called cerebrolysin. Cerebrolysin. You can get it from Peptual. Can you send the link for Peptual? I think you guys even get a 10% discount on Peptual peptides. These are excellent for cognitive function and early onset cognitive decline. Angelo M says, also seeking Parkinson's insights and recommendation for a family member. Same thing. Number one, lower the glycemic profile. Get the refined carbohydrates out of your diet. People with Parkinson's will crave carbohydrate. Okay, so they will actually be crack addicted to carbohydrates. So you have to lower the glycemic profile. I even recommend very often a 10-week clean keto reset. If you want to see their personality come back, do a clean keto reset. Now, I'm not a physician, and again, I'm not licensed to practice medicine, but I will tell you a patent fact. Very often, getting off of statin medication nearly immediately restores the cognitive loss. So I am not suggesting that your loved one get off of cardiovascular medication if they're on it, if they're on statin, cholesterol lowering drugs like statins, but Lipitor, Repatha have been linked to accelerated onset of cognitive decline in all forms, Alzheimer's, dementia, early onset cognitive decline, short-term memory loss. And, cholesterol is just such a necessary chemical in the human body. It's made by our liver. Only 15% of the cholesterol in your blood even comes from your diet. 85% of the cholesterol in your blood is manufactured by the liver. So if we want to lower the amount of cholesterol, we lower the glycemic profile. We lower the amount of high glycemic sugars and talk to your doctor about the possibility of coming off of a statin. You may see near immediate results. I know that that's exactly what I saw in my mother. So Ingrid Victorinova, 59, long-term foot numbness, high ochre toxin, 19.2. Wow. Multiple deficiencies, what to test for, provoked metals cause nerve damage, supplement suggestions. Okay. So in this case, I would do a provoked heavy metal test. And what that is, you go into a clinic, they run a chelation IV, and that chelation IV will draw the metals out of the tissue. You go to bed that night, and the next morning you collect first urine. This is in my detox guide. You collect the first urine, and you get a true measure of how much heavy metal is in the system. I took my heavy metals to zero by taking a morning AM and PM oral chelation supplement. I will put a link to that supplement in either in these notes, or I will get it to you in the VIP group. Then follow the heavy metal and mold detox guide. Mold and metals do have a tendency to cause peripheral nerve symptoms, tingling, numbness, loss of circulation, especially in the feet, loss of proprioception in the feet. Also, soaking your feet in hydrogen water is excellent. You can get hydrogen bombs from H2 Tab. These are not the hydrogen that you would put in your glass and drink. Those are the H2 tabs, the elemental magnesium. These are much bigger. You put about 15 or 20 of these in a bathtub, or if you want to really concentrate it, you can put it in a warm bucket of water. The warmer, the better. I want to dilate the capillaries. I want the circulation to increase. I want the vasculature to expand and dilate, and soak it for about 20 minutes in hydrogen-rich water. There are studies on this, by the way, for restoring peripheral circulation. They compare it to the RICE protocol, which is rest, ice, compress, and elevate. It outpaced the RICE protocol, it reduces the inflammation, it improves the circulation. I talk very often about the microvascular circulation. Remember, 70% of our circulation is not done by our heart. It is venules and capillaries. There's no pressure in this part of our circulatory system. It is done by an activity called vasomotor, and we never cater to vasomotor circulation. So soaking the feet in hydrogen-rich water is excellent, and then you don't have to go out and buy a several $1,000 hydrogen bath. Those tablets are much less expensive, and they're very, very effective. You might even notice immediate relief. Okay. Karen Morley, traveling and waking unrefreshed. Is indoor breath work okay if outdoor air is polluted? Other travel tips to feel restored. So here's my thing for feeling restored when you travel. I am about to take you guys behind the scenes to 14 cities in 18 days, about 9 different time zones, I think. Miami, Dallas, LA, Australia, so I'm actually flipping the time zone. Singapore, London, Saudi Arabia, Dubai, back to New York. So I will be in just about every time zone in the world during that period. I'm going to show you exactly what I do. I do the exact same thing every single day. I do the same thing to go to bed, and I do the same thing to wake up. My nighttime routine is the following. I make the hotel room as cold as it can possibly get. I surgically try to remove all of the light from the room. Um, I take magnesium and a non-melatonin sleep supplement. I invested in a $10 cotton, make sure it's pure cotton, eye mask. It takes very little candle wattage coming in through your eyes to actually create a wakened state. Go to your iPhone settings and set your screen in nighttime mode to turn red. You can take your iPhone and triple click on the right hand side. Oh, you're dropping it. Okay. You can triple click on the right hand side and it turns your screen red. And then the final thing to do is within 30 minutes of waking, yes, do your 3 rounds of breath work. And then you're not going to like this, but take a cold shower within 30 minutes of waking. So do the exact same thing to go to bed and the exact same thing to wake up. I wrote a sleep guide, which is also available for you guys for free. You're going to see me implement this sleep guide to keep my sleep scores above 80, preferably above 90. But sometimes when the travel gets very intense, I can only keep it in the mid 80s. But I'm targeting anything above 80% when I am intensely traveling, and I am regularly in the high 80s and the low 90s despite the time zone travel. The other thing that I will point out is that this is the most important. You guys might want to actually write this down because nobody talks about this when we travel. Do not eat during your normal sleeping window. If you're going to be in a foreign country or a foreign time zone for less than 5 days, preserve your sleeping window. So if you go to bed at 10 p.m. on the East Coast and you wake up at 6 a.m., just making up that time span, that means your body is used to sleeping between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. If you eat during 10 p.m. and 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. Eastern time, when you're in London, which would be 6 a.m. to noon London time, you will wreck your circadian clock. So I don't start eating until noon when I'm in London. Coffee is fine, fluids are fine, hydrogen tablets, Baja Gold sea salt, water, perfect aminos, all of those things are fine. Liquids are fine. But don't put solid food in your body when your body thinks it should be sleeping. So if you went from Miami to LA, shift your sleeping window 3 hours. If you normally get up at 6 a.m., then don't eat before 9 a.m. on that coast. Okay. Just so that we are keeping pace with, we're keeping our digestion on the same clock. Christian Moore, recommendations for brands for a hydrogen bath machine. The one that I have is called a Hue Light, Hue space light. It is a hydrogen nano bath. So it doesn't just make hydrogen bubbles, it makes hydrogen nano bubbles. These are 1/800th the size of human pore. Now, these machines are not inexpensive. I would suggest that you start with hydrogen bombs to make sure you're getting the effect that you want. You can order those from H2 Tab before you invest thousands of dollars in a hydrogen water bath. So you can take 15 or 20 of these, throw them in a warm bath, the warmer the better, and you can bathe in the hydrogen gas. The second thing that I would do is, if you're going to get the Hue Light Nano Bath, is I would do that 25 minutes at night right before bed. It will be the best night's sleep you've ever had. You will go to bed pain-free. If you have what I call nips and bibbles, like knees, hips, shoulders, rotator cuff, arthritis, low back pain, that hydrogen bath is astounding for that. Those bubbles go right transdermal, they go through the skin, and they dramatically reduce the inflammation. You will feel it immediately after getting out of the bath. It also shifts your body from being in a sympathetic state, fight or flight, to a parasympathetic state, rest and digest, which is what you want before bed. I travel with the hydrogen bombs. When I have a hotel that actually has a bath, I will do that before I go to bed in a foreign country too. I'll just fill the bath up with warm water, throw 20 or 25 of those into the bath, and I'll take a hydrogen bath before bed. My wife Sage does the same thing. She has an L5 S1 fusion. She had a spinal fusion from a really bad car accident. uh, right before well, I'm supposed to turn that off, um, from a really bad car accident before we met. And the hydrogen gas has just been an absolute game changer for her. Biologic dentist in Florida for failed root canal who won't use antibiotics and any personal recommendations. Monica Petith, Petith. I hope I'm saying that right. So Monica, I don't know a biologic dentist in Florida, but I know a phenomenal one in New York. His name is Dr. Jigger Gandhi, Gigger Gandhi. I've done 2 podcasts with him, so you can look up Dr. Gandhi and Gary Brecka. No antibiotics. He uses vitamin C drips. Um, he uses high dose vitamin C. He uses red light therapy. He packs any of the root canals with platelet rich fibrin, which is your own platelets. He uses ozone to clean out the joint, and he only uses zirconian implants, which are a ceramic implant, not titanium, which literally create a battery in your mouth. So when you put metal in water and salt and fluid, it creates a current, a battery. This is why very often when you take the cap off of a titanium implant, you will see burned tissue circulating right, surrounding the implant. That is necrotic dead tissue that has been fried by the battery. It also creates an antenna, so it attracts EMF, Wi-Fi, 5G, microwave, radio wave. All those things are attracted to those types of implants. Um, uh, so so yeah, we're going through the pre-submitted questions. Okay. Um, so um, Sean Wolfram says, big weight fluctuation. I enjoy exercise and intermittent fasting and IF, but I struggle with diet, energy, recovery, and breaking the fast. Where to start so it sticks? The best way to enter a fast and the best way to break a fast is with bone broth. So um, very often, sometimes I fly private, sometimes I fly commercial. Every time I fly private, I take bone broth on the plane with me. Bone broth is considered a food, so it does go through TSA. So you can actually take it in your carry-on. You can certainly pack it in your check bag. I take one called Kettle and Fire. If you're a vegan or vegetarian, they have a vegetarian bone broth. My recommendation is the venison or the 100% grass-fed, grass-finished organic beef bone broth. You can also get a chicken bone broth. The nice thing about these is they're very high in collagen, super high in protein, and they have some fat in them. They're easy on the digestive system, especially if you are traveling. So if you are easing into or out of your intermittent fast, liquid, so it's easy to digest, and it also helps heal and seal and repair the gut. It is much better, in my opinion, to drink bone broth than even colostrum. If you have leaky gut, taking BPC 157 and also taking bone broth together will be a game changer for you. So easing in and easing out of the fast, I would really recommend bone broths. I would actually start traveling with these in your luggage. As I was coming back from LA yesterday, I had 2 boxes of bone broth. It was amazing on the plane. I was alert and focused the whole time. I didn't feel sluggish or full, and it satisfied my hunger. I actually will sprinkle a little Baja Gold sea salt in there. And if you really want some substance, you can put white rice, you can put uh, chicken, you can put beef, you can even put vegetables in there, and you can actually make a bone broth like soup. I prefer to just drink it straight out of the box. Uh, um, Margaret Bunn says protocol recommendations for bone on bone knees. Now, um, it's very, 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 very rare that you actually have bone on bone. What you have is anchor cartilage on anchor cartilage. Let me explain that. Um, on the top of the bone, we have a coating called the periosteum. It's like a saran wrap that's wrapped around your bone. Um, Above that, you have a very specific type of cartilage. It's very gristly, it's very tough, and it anchors to the bone. It's extremely tough. If you've ever eaten meat off the bone, sometimes taking the sharpest knife you can, it's hard to scrape that cartilage off the bone. Same thing in human beings. We have this anchor cartilage, very gristly, very tough, very thick. Above that, you have the cartilaginous surface that is meant for friction. This is smooth cartilage. Usually we wear down the smooth cartilage, which does not have nerve endings, and we get to the anchor cartilage, which is fraught with nerve endings, and we think we have bone on bone because it's very painful. So three things. I would start wearing a BPC 157 GHKCU NAD patch. All three come in a patch. You can get it from Peptual. It is a 12-hour patch. You can put it on your flank. You can put it on your thigh. You can put it on your shoulder. And what it will do is it will dispense the BPC 157 over a 12-hour period. So instead of just taking an injection of BPC or orally taking this peptide, it will dispense it over 12 hours. During that time, it will also dispense 12 hours of NAD+. During that time, it will also dispense the copper healing peptide called GHKCU. All three of these are in that patch. There's a microchip in that patch, so you get very specific, perfect dosing over that 12-hour period. Put it on at 8 in the morning, take it off at 8 at night. Put it on 6 in the morning, take it off at 6 at night. The other thing I would consider are intra-articular, meaning inside the joint, stem cell injections. If you'd like, I will put you in touch with Dr. Sarda or Dr. Davis, Jeffrey Davis, who is the medical director for the UFC, and you can arrange to have these intra-articular injections. As you may know, I also sit on the board of the NFL Alumni Association, Athletica. There are 22,000 athletes in this organization. The most common injury issue that they have are repetitive use injuries, right? So think of the sport they were in. So lots of knees, lots of ankles, lots of low backs, lots of rotator cuffs, and lots of mid-neck. And these injections can be miracles for people that are suffering from those conditions before you go get a replacement, knee replacement. Kelsey Hillard, stage 4 endometriosis. What helps pain, inflammation, and fertility? So three things. Number one, if you have endometriosis, very important to lower your high glycemic carbohydrate intake. I would be thinking of something along the lines of a paleo diet, a much more low glycemic diet. The second thing are castor oil patches, soaking rags in castor oil, laying them actually on your stomach and allowing the castor oil to penetrate through the stomach. The third thing is hydrogen tablets. They work very, very well for endometriotic pain. They don't actually reverse the endometriosis, but they do work for endometriotic pain. Depending on the severity of it, you obviously should see an OBGYN, but castor oil is excellent. You can actually buy organic castor oil. You can soak a pad with it. Barbara O'Neill talks about this on the podcast that's released today, and lay it on your abdomen. I would increase your number of H2 tabs from a single tab to 2 to 3 tablets at a time. The side effect is mild gas. So if you get gas, just back off on the tablets. Not a big deal. There's no downside to doing that, but flood that area with the anti-inflammatory compounds that help reduce the inflammation, which is causing the pain. So one more pre-submitted question, and listen, I have some other ones I'm not going to have time to get to. I promise you, I'm going to go through each of these names, and I'm going to respond to you in writing. So I am not forgetting about you guys. I just want to make sure that we have time for the live Q&A. Robert Boot, type 2 diabetes, best way to reverse insulin resistance. Currently using H2 tab, great. And a body health multi. You're doing all of the right things. What I would do is I would get what's called a CGM, a constant glucose monitor. This is a patch that you generally put on your shoulder, or you put it on the back flank of your arm. It connects to an app on your phone, so you can actually monitor your blood sugar in real time. And what I would do if you were titrating down on insulin, I'm going to make this up for a minute just for information purposes. Let's say you are on 30 units of insulin. you want to monitor your glucose, and every time that your glucose remains below 160 nanograms per deciliter, 160 on this app, you can titrate down 1 unit of insulin. Again, please run this by your doctor. This is not medical advice, but this is what I've seen for reversing type 2 diabetes. So this is a slow, gradual process to get you off of the dependency of insulin and allow your pancreas again to take over. It is critically important that you do a 10-week keto reset. Clean keto dieting is easy to follow. There are sweets on a keto diet. They're sweetened with monk fruit or allulose. There are minimal carbohydrates, so you don't have to totally ditch the rice. You add things like sweet potato and slow burn carbohydrates. I think I've even written a keto guide. If not, I can send you the keto guide that I wrote for Dana White. 10-week keto reset, titrating down a single unit of insulin every time that you are below 160 postprandial, which means after a meal, so that you're titrating off the insulin slowly if you're insulin dependent. Vitamin D3 is critically important for that. And probably the best thing for you is regular movement, low intensity cardiovascular exercise, what we call steady state cardio. The best steady state cardio is a weighted vest walk outside. The second best is a weighted walk on a treadmill. So put the treadmill at 5 degrees, walk at about a 3.5 pace. So a nice steady walk. You shouldn't be out of breath and panting. The weight will put extra strain on your body, boost your metabolism, and help to improve insulin sensitivity. By the way, there's a very interesting study that just came out on hydrogen water using the H2 tab, using the exact same elemental magnesium tablet that I recommend, comparing it to GLP-1s, and it actually outperformed GLP-1s and caused the body to release more natural GLP-1 just by adding hydrogen gas to your water. I would take 1 tablet before each meal. So the water you are drinking with your meal is saturated with hydrogen gas. Okay, if I didn't get to your pre-submitted question today, like I said, don't worry. Our admin, Morgan, is going to sync with me after this call, and I will get you the answer. If it takes me the rest of the day, I will get you that answer. Make sure you're checking your DMs in the community. It's the little inbox icon, so make sure you're checking that. If you need help finding anything, head to Start Here. There's a section that says Start Here. It's on the left-hand side. That's your map to where everything lives. If you get stuck, just reach out. We've got you. My team's here to help you. All right, let's bring up some VIPs. I love to see the faces. There's one. Hi there. You're muted. Bottom left-hand side. See if you can unmute. There you go. No, for some reason you're still muted. Let me see. Okay, I've got my laptop up. So same thing. It says that she's muted. Are we muting her? She's muted? Okay, she's unmuted on our side, but I can't hear you. Unmute one more time. Try unmuting one more time. Bottom should be on the bottom left-hand side. No, that's so strange. Okay, we're going to come right back to you. I'm going to put you on pause for a second, and we're going to come right back to you. I'm not going to leave you. I'm going to answer your question. We just got to get the mute. To go on her phone? Yeah, log into the Zoom through. Oh, log into the Zoom through your phone. Log into the Zoom through your phone. Oh, okay. Oh, that could be it. And then if this doesn't work, then you can definitely log in to the Zoom through your phone. What we need is one of my kids. My 16-year-old would solve this in about 8 seconds. Okay. No, shoot. Okay. I'm going to give you time to log in through your phone, and you're going to be the next person I take up. I promise you. I'm only parking you for 30 seconds. Candace, you're muted too. Bottom left-hand side. There we go.
Hi, how are you?
I'm amazing, Candace. How are you?
Thanks. I'm doing well, thank you. I have a question. So, my husband is 66. He's in excellent physical shape, has always been the healthy one between the two of us. I'm usually the one that, would be calling in and asking about myself. But he in May face planted, not literally, but with regard to his health, and everything just tanked. He started sleeping like 18 to 20 hours a day and was extremely exhausted. Not a whole lot of other symptoms other than just no appetite, no energy. So we went down the rabbit hole of testing. What we found was elevated M1 spike, kappa light chains, and
Hmm.
kappa lambda ratio.
Hmm.
And so in the allopathic world, right, that is now just in their mind's eye, we are pre multiple myeloma
Hmm.
potentially, and sit and wait until we reach smoldering phase and then active multiple myeloma, and then you do something. I don't
Hmm.
accept that as a good
I don't either.
answer. And so we've been doing hydrogen water, and we've been doing a bunch of supplements like fulvic humic acid and like good nutrient dense greens, just trying to figure out what else. We started doing ozone therapy immediately. We started doing IVs, like nutrient IVs, um, acupuncture, just trying to figure out what else we can do to support his immune system so we never get to the smoldering phase or the
Yes.
multiple myeloma phase.
So I would absolutely continue down the detox pathway. So if you listen to the history here, it sounds like a rapid onset, sudden onset. So what we would call acute onset, right? So this is not something where, he was sleeping 6 hours, and then he started sleeping 7 hours, and then a few months later he was sleeping 9 hours. It's almost like he got, as you said, face planted, like you got run over by a bus. These are usually sudden onset. It is the slow rise in toxins, and now it starts to spill over. The body can no longer handle it, and you have a rapid decline. And then you have the immune system starting to light up, just like you said before, the smoldering phase. And so the question is, what lit the immune system up? And so I would be aggressively going down the road of pathogenic testing, and I would be testing for these four. I would do a full viral panel. um, I would also do the Vibrant Wellness test. I would do a provoked urine test, and I would start looking for the pathogen. Was it a mold spore, a mycotoxin? Was it a parasite, a virus, or was it some other kind of toxic heavy metal? And I would start trying to remove those. So there is a guide to this form of testing. Blood filtration is also excellent for him. Congratulations on doing ozone. See if you can find a clinic that does EBU ozone. So, in other words, they're going to add blood filtration to the infusion of ozone. Even better if they have light therapy in addition. It's a single treatment, pulls the blood out. It actually um, uh, puts it through a filter. It comes out of the filter. It gets ozonated. And then it goes through a light filter and it goes back into the body. I am desperately the procedure that I did is terribly expensive right now. It's about $25,000 for one of these filters. We are desperately working with Bobby Kennedy and Marty McCary and the FDA to try to get these types of treatments covered by health insurance. There is no reason why these types of filtration procedures cannot be available to the mainstream public under their health insurance coverage. The cost of running a filter versus the cost of treating somebody for a lifetime of chronic disease is night and day. Um, so until we can get that done, I would recommend other forms of filtration other than the one that I did this weekend, which is called Lumati Hemo Detox. Just mainly because of the expense. But EbO2 ozone, regular sauna sessions, using the gut binders, which is in my detox guide, and testing the Vibrant Total Tox test and doing a provoked urine test, and make sure that you do a full viral panel. West Nile, Epstein-Barr virus, cytomegalovirus, Lyme. You'd be surprised how many of these conditions are actually coming from a pathogenic attack. It might not be a bad idea to do a parasitic detox. You can use one called Parapurge by Free Range, 3 capsules a day, 10 days on, 10 days off, and then 10 days on again, and then stop. Very often, these parasitic cestode nematodes, cestode larvae, helminth parasites light the immune system up systemically. It starts running around confused, and you end up with a specific autoimmune condition. A very close friend of mine, very famous comedian, went to Mexico with me this weekend, and we were doing the blood filtration to try to eliminate, all of these toxins so that the immune system didn't continue on its journey of lighting up against friendly tissue. Remember, I use this example all the time. Can you just give me a bottle cap or something? Just hand me anything. Um, uh-oh. Um, okay. So we're done. But what's really important is this is a pathogen. This is a healthy cell. Pathogens hide like this, not like this, right?
Yeah.
That's important because what happens when a pathogen goes inside the cell? The immune system lights up to get to this pathogen. Okay, that's the simplest way I can explain it. But those detox guides are there for a reason, so I would really recommend following some of those.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate you and all you do.
You're super welcome. Please keep us updated. I love that we got music now. So, okay, you're muted too. We're having a pandemic of muted VIPs today. Bottom left-hand side. Should be a little picture of a microphone.
Got it.
There we go.
I had my boxes side by side with my questions.
Okay.
So, yes, I am 67 years old. I have what I was told about 3.5 years ago was tendonitis. I have a lot of foot and ankle swelling, pain, and I had 6 doctors in total, but no one brought up one fact that the swelling might have been due, at least in part, to the blood pressure medicine.
No question.
So I brought it up a few months ago and asked them to switch, and it has helped somewhat. I mean, I don't have it day to day, but I still have swelling on the outside of my ankles, and I was like, what? Especially my right one right now, and I'm like, what's the deal? Is it like leftovers or something, so to speak? Also, when I asked them to switch me, I said nothing with diuretics because I have dry mouth and dry eye because of stuff in the house. So I'm going to take care of that soon. So they're not swollen all the time like they used to. So I'm assuming it's getting better because I'm getting off the blood pressure medicine, and gradually things hopefully will go back. I have balance issues and weak muscles, and I sit down because I can tire after a period of varying from 1.5 to 4 hours. And it's been like, because when onset pain started 3.5 years ago, it was horrific,
Okay.
So my muscles are kind of like I think taking time to adjust because they're still weak. I am over 67 and I'm having a hard time developing this muscle. I take a branched chain amino acid, and I don't understand this. It's in parentheses, not hyphen, but those 2 dots. I can't remember what they're called. Colons.
Leucine, isoleucine, and valine.
Yeah, 2-1-1. Okay,
Yeah,
and then
it's a 2 to 1 to 1. It's 2 parts leucine to 1 part isoleucine to 1 part valine. Okay, throw that in the trash. That's purely sugar water.
Okay, and then also it has L-citrulline, beta alanine, L-glutamine, L-arginine, L-taurine. Do I have all the right ones to build muscle? Was my question.
No. So branched chain amino acids was a marketing fad. It took off. Leucine, isoleucine, and valine are 3 of the 9 essential amino acids. The theory was that because these are metabolized directly at the muscle level in a 2 to 1 to 1 ratio, 2 parts leucine to 1 part isoleucine to 1 part valine, that you should only take branched chain amino acids. The truth is, it is purely sugar water. If you do not have all 9 of the essential amino acids, and once you get when you have all 9 of the essential amino acids, you can build any tissue in the body. Once you have 8 of those, the balance of these amino acids turn to sugar or to fat. So if it tastes good, great. You're getting a good flavored drink, but it's having no physiologic impact, which is why it's not helping you build muscle. So 3 things I would do. Number 1, this sounds like acute mycotoxin. This has all of the hallmarks of mycotoxin. Why? Because mycotoxin, mold spores, will affect vascular or valvular sufficiency. In the veins, so we have pressure coming in the arteries, blood goes into the tissue, and then it leaves the tissue and it goes back through the veins, back to the heart. There are valves, one-way valves. So imagine that this is a pipe and this is a valve. It opens and closes. So the heart beats, beat, open, close, beat, open, close, beat, open, close. When those valves become too flaccid and collapse, blood goes the other way and you get pooling and swelling. So number 1, I would be checking for mold and mycotoxins. Super important that you do that Vibrant Wellness test. You can do it at home. Here's what I would be doing in increasing order of cost. 1, I would be soaking the limb in hydrogen gas. Number 2, I would, if it's within the budget, I would get a Normatec compression gear. Normatec makes again, no affiliation here. Normatec makes boots that you slide your feet into. And you can run it on different settings, different pressure settings, and it will start to move that fluid out of your lower extremity into your upper extremity. If those are outside the budget, get copper compression socks. Make sure that they are copper compression gear. It's super important that the compression gear have copper in them, and get them the ones that end at what's called the popliteal fossa, which is on the back of the knee. You pull them all the way up until they're right below the knee. Don't get full-length compression gear. Get compression gear that goes to the base of to the top of the tibia and dumps that stuff into that popliteal fossa, into the rest of the system that's going to evacuate it. So compression gear, compression boots, soaking the limb in hydrogen water. I would also be taking something called Vinia resveratrol, VINIA resveratrol, and it's a must that you take a supplement called Endocalyx, CALYX. Endocalyx is a supplement that restores the integrity to our vascular system. It repairs something called the endothelium, which is the lining of the blood vessel. What we want to do is we want to heal and repair those tissues. I would also really talk to a functional medicine doctor about getting off of cardiovascular medication and seeing if you have high homocysteine. High homocysteine is generally why most people are put on blood pressure medication. You can take a supplement called TMG, trimethylglycine. Okay?
The socks. You said the socks are supposed to go up to where? I mean, is that behind
the socks go up to the top of the tibia, the below the knee, right here.
Below the knee.
You
and
can
I
see
think
it,
it's interesting, but I do have a lot of what do you call those big veins? What do you call them? Like behind my knees?
Varicose veins.
Yes.
Yes, that's from your valves collapsing and the pulling blowing up the vein, right? So you need to help with the blood flow with compression gear or compression boots, help reduce the inflammation with hydrogen gas, hydrogen water. Just throw the hydrogen bombs right in your bathtub and soak your feet. You can put your whole body in there. Having your legs above your heart, getting off of cardiovascular medication if your doctor allows you to do that. Taking Vinia resveratrol. It's a very specific form of resveratrol. It's a piceid form of resveratrol that helps restore vascular laxity. And then taking a supplement called Endocalyx. By the way, I have no affiliation with any of those. That is exactly what I did for my mother after she had bilateral knee replacement. She has no varicose veins now. None. Judy Barca.
Great. I just got to learn how to spell all this stuff.
Which, by the way, my parents should be on here. They should be VIPs.
Okay.
Okay. I just put everything in the chat for you. Okay.
Okay.
Please
great.
check the chat.
Thank
Okay.
You.
You're
Right,
super welcome. All right. We're going to try Daniela. Okay. Okay. Unmute.
No.
Ah, we got it.
Right. Hi.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi,
I'm
Daniela.
so happy to talk with you.
I feel like we won the
I'm
lottery. We're connected.
Yes, I booked a ticket for Sydney because I am in Sydney. So I took a VIP package. So I'm gonna also have a 50% discount for a genetic test. Even I
Yes.
don't understand how well I can do it, but maybe they're gonna
You know
tell
what?
me.
I'm coming to Australia with my genetic testing early next year, and I will comp you one. I'm
Okay.
coming to London in October, launching the genetic testing and supplements there, and then I'm launching my genetic testing and supplements in the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, so Dubai and Abu Dhabi. Australia. This is my first time in Australia. We've got thousands of people in Sydney, thousands of people in Melbourne. So please connect with my team so that I make sure that I meet you face to face.
Okay. So I try to be really quickly
Okay.
tell all my story because stuff.
Okay. And if
Childhood.
we don't have time on this VIP, we'll have time next week in person. I promise I'll give you some one-on-one time. Just because you're
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. So, when I was a child, recurrent tonsillitis, adenoid removed, antibiotic for 6 months, antimoscal, and then every time oral 1-2 times a year for a tonsillitis. Then remove tonsillitis at 20 years old. Again, 6 months intramuscular antibiotic. Then at 30 years, anti-acid for reflux that lower my ferritin. I start to have parasite, dysbiosis. Now, my pH stomach, I believe, is really low. Why? Because I just two aspects I wanted to tell you. One, because last month I vomited on the boat. I was in fasting, so it was bile. It should be really acid, should it? But it was
Correct.
absolutely no acid. So that's maybe is a sign that is low.
Yes.
Then I have a lot of UTI probably connected with my dysbiosis.
Yes.
And also, what happened? I have hyperactive, like I have like a low chronic inflammation. Probably I had 3 years ago blepharitis, and with the shaking at night was really weird, that feeling, and it lasts. The blepharitis lasts 1 year. Then 2 years ago, I have lips itching. Was really itching, impossible to sleep. It was really bad. Lasts for 1 year, and with cortisone and stuff. And then last year I had the infusion for the low ferritin, and I was shaking at night. It was really, really bad. My iron from low ferritin, from low was skyrocketing, and after 6 months was still at 300 something, a little bit higher from the range. Then at 7 months after, came in the range. So now it's in the range. I feel better for in many way, but that's my situation. And also I felt cold like everybody else around me all my life. It was really, really bad for many reasons. So
this is classic setup.
And I've seen, or I would like to add something, because I've seen, they ask Gary anything, everything. I'm really researching a lot. So I know that you suggest a Parapurge that I tried to buy, but my card was blocked. So now the bank just sent me another card. Now I found another source, but I need to know from you, because I really reactive for many things. So I need to understand the posology of the ivermectin is the one I found.
Ivermectin.
Ivermectin is 5 for each capsule, 4 milligrams, and fenbendazole 74 milligram for each capsule. But here in Australia and also in Italy, it seems that this kind of thing is for veterinarian purpose, which makes me a little bit anxious.
Yes.
So it's okay.
Ivermectin. Yeah, yeah. So ivermectin and fenbendazole are excellent. I know your question is over. I want to just highlight this because this is going to be applicable to so many people here. I say this all the time, guys, and this is so important in human physiology. Usually, one thing goes wrong that causes everything. You don't have multiple systems fail at the same time. With this, what you're hearing in her story is a classic sequence of events. If I was to guess, and I would bet my entire career, first of all, you never should have had the adenoids removed, but my entire career, that this began with a severe mold infection. The reason for that is one of the classic signs. Parents, please take note of this. If your child has recurrent sore throats, um, and is constantly getting strep infections and constantly going on antibiotics, that is a hallmark sign of a mold infection. Mold and think penicillin and bacteria. Bacteria, Streptococcus, and mold have been in a feud for centuries. They hate each other. Mold is penicillin is derived from mold. And Streptococcus is a bacteria that hates that mold. So when you get mold infections that settle into the adenoids, which is the soft tissues, very moist, very dark, it is a perfect breeding ground for mold. When mold sporulates, it lights up the Streptococcus. So you get this flare up in this streptococcal infection. And then what do? They hit it with antibiotics. That takes down the strep infection, but the mold now is not affected by the antibiotics, and the mold sits there. Then it flares up again, and the streptococcus infection takes off. And then you do another cycle of antibiotics. This is wiping out your gut flora. That consequence is coming down the road, which is why you have the thyroid, the cold issues, the gut dysbiosis, all of those things. So certainly if I was you, I would be doing a mold detox. The parasitic detoxes are generally very safe. Ivermectin and fenbendazole together are a great combination for parasitic infections. You do these short term. You can do 5 days on, 10 days off, 5 days on, or would I prefer 10 days on, 10 days off, and 10 days on. And then
how many capsules a day? Sorry,
you're going to take 12.5 milligrams of ivermectin daily. So convert, that's, I think from the dosage that you told me, that would be three of those capsules daily.
Yes.
And also properly elevate the fenbendazole dosage.
Okay.
3 capsules daily.
Do you think I have the same mold infection from childhood I have still in my body now, for example? So it should be that.
You may or may not. If you got out of the mold environment over the course of several months or years, your body will actually kill the mold. If you're in that environment constantly getting inoculated, you may very well, I don't know if you're in the same environment you had as a child.
No, I don't.
Okay, so then the answer is likely no, but I would be testing for that. These are the things that you start with a mold infection. It flares up the sore throat. The sore throat gets treated with antibiotics. The antibiotics kill the gut bacteria. The lack of gut bacteria renders the immune system defenseless. When the immune system is defenseless, you start to get inflammation, which is called itis, diverticulitis, ulcerative colitis, Crohn's, irritable bowel syndrome. You get all of these things that are connected to the gut. And then you get dysregulation because you have ferritin metabolism issues. You have what's called TIBC and total iron binding capacity issues. You have this downstream consequences. Think of dominoes just falling in a line, right? And now we're way down the road treating the gut dysbiosis, but we have to go all the way back to the beginning and treat the initial infection, which is very, very likely mold. Children are especially prone to this, and young children will get these infections. They'll settle in the back of their adenoids, and they will have their tonsils removed because they have a mold infection, and the recurrent antibiotics have destroyed their gut. So the other thing that I would be doing, and I'll get into more detail with you on this when we're in Australia, I would look up a supplement called 38 Terra. 38 Terra. It is by Dr. Buskowitz, Dr. B. I did a full podcast with Dr. B. Please watch that podcast. Let's repopulate your gut. Let's repopulate your gut. Let's do a parasitic detox. And then let's see if you have the mold infection. I'll find you a test in Australia if the Vibrant Wellness test is not available there. By the time I show up there, I'll know what test could be there. Very soon, I will have my gene testing and my supplements available in your country. Your health authorities are tough. That's what I'll tell you.
I know,
We're working through it. We're working through it. But I look forward to meeting.
I have also A1C, which is
Elevated
5.1. No, I have a 5.1%. So I don't know if I
that's
can do
good.
fasting.
No,
Can I do
you
fasting?
can-
Because I do
Yes.
fasting since 19.
yes, you can do fasting. I would not do intermittent fasting. I would eat regularly in a 12-hour window, but you
I
can
do 16/8.
Okay, so 16.8 is if your hemoglobin A1C is
Two
5.1.
meals.
Okay, if your hemoglobin A1C is 5.1 and that hemoglobin A1C was tested after you've been doing the 16.8 for a while, stick to 16.8 because it's the 16.8, 16 16 off, 8 on that's
Yes.
keeping your hemoglobin A1C low. This is what's critical. You can do fasting in addition to that, what's called periodic fasting. So I would participate in my 3-day water fasting challenge that's coming up. But I promise you, I'm going to take as much time as we need when I meet you in Australia, and we will take a deep dive.
But can I meet you? Because there are 3 levels. I don't know if I can meet you with my VIP
Yeah, that's
package.
why that's why I asked you to contact my team so that my team can isolate your ticket, and then I will personally invite you backstage so we can spend a few minutes.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so
We
much.
won't
So I
charge you for
can
that.
leave time for other people and I can meet you. I will be so
Yes.
honored.
And we're just
Thank
going to
you very
report back
much.
on this because we're going to fix this, and then
I will come here. Like really, I know I will be okay with you. I'm so enthusiastic. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm so excited to see and meet you too. And then in 2 months, we're going to report back, and you're going to have a completely different story to tell. It's going to support a lot of people on this call. Okay.
Oh, I am so. Thank you, Gary.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you for being a VIP. This is like chicken soup for the soul. I love these. We're muted again. There we go. I don't think I can hear him. Oh, he's muted again. No, he's unmuted. See, muted again. Unmuted. Okay, let's see if we can hear you. Oh, no, you just muted again. Bottom left-hand side, you should be able to click the icon and unmute.
I did.
There we go. I can hear you, brother.
Hello?
Hi.
Amazing. Hey, it's been so nice to meet you last time in London.
Yes.
In the Health Optimization Summit, and something I couldn't let go that you said is about there might be one root cause to everything.
Yes.
So I can't see you. I don't know where this Zoom went.
I can hear you clearly.
Good. So I had Crohn's for 27 years. The most 10 plus years I've been on immunosuppressants. And I stopped it a year ago. I turned my life around. I lost 30 kilos. I'm eating 0 ultra processed food. I've done a 5-day water-only fast, and about my inflammation is gone. I also have ADHD and dyspraxia and seborrheic dermatitis. Now my white blood cell count is low and my neutrophils are low. But actually, so my Crohn's, I've kind of fixed it for a while. I got off medication and I've got SIBO at the same time as my girlfriend. And I'm just somehow, even though I fixed my diet and exercise, and my nutrition and everything, the other symptoms didn't go away. My dermatitis, my skin is still not fine. I have all these other issues. My white blood cell count is dropping. My neutrophil count is quite low. And I'm just not understanding, like, that there is something I'm not seeing. There's something I'm not seeing.
Yeah.
My ferritin is low.
Yeah, this is a weakened immune system secondary to gut dysbiosis, which is disruption of the gut microflora. Years of immunosuppressants, antibiotics, anti-inflammatories. You were likely on something called methotrexate.
That's why I was here.
Yeah, you were on that. Okay. So that makes perfect sense. Methotrexate gives you the MTHFR gene mutation. Even if you don't have it, it creates that gene mutation. It blocks the metabolism of folic acid. And then what they usually do is they supplement you with folic acid.
Yes.
Which okay, so that's exactly what happened to you. So guys, so pay attention. This is a common mistake in medicine. So what happens is we realize that so MTHFR is a gene mutation that blocks you from metabolizing folic acid. They give you methotrexate, which gives you the MTHFR gene mutation, not literally, but figuratively. So now you block the metabolism of folic acid. So what do? They give you high doses of folic acid, which you can't metabolize. So that folic acid rises in the bloodstream and causes additional damage. And so three things are super important. So first of all, I am going to comp you. I'm back in London, October 3rd through what, the 6th? October 3rd through the 7th. I'm taking 10,000 people through an intimate experience. I leased 4,000 square feet. I'm bringing my entire team out there, and I'm launching my gene test and supplements. I'm going to comp you a genetic test so we can actually get in touch with my team. We will do the test at the event. And when we get the results of that test, I have a supplement protocol that is tied specifically to those deficiencies, right? So we're going to circumvent this genetic mutation that was caused by the methotrexate and the immunosuppressants. And then we're going to get on a really, really, really good gut restorative supplement. In your case, I would take something called BioComplete 3. It's by Dr. Gundry. It is a pre, pro, and a postbiotic. It's all three. It's called BioComplete 3. We're going to start to repopulate the gut. We're going to fix the gene mutation because nothing else matters until we start supplementing for those deficiencies. Nothing will fix itself. And you'll be chasing ferritin metabolism, total iron binding capacity, unbound iron binding capacity. Your white blood cell count will never normalize. You'll have elevated something called immature granulocytes. Your immune system will be confused and sort of running around attacking different things because it's been suppressed for so long. Now you woke it up. And now it's sort of locking in on everything. And this will be a game changer for you. Supplementing for deficiency based on that gene test. It's a I think a $400 test in the UK. I'm going to give it to you. I want you to get in touch with my team so I know that we are going to connect. I'll be there for 5 days. I hope to meet you there. I will also comp you a ticket to my event. I'm doing very intimate stage talks every 2 hours, and they're on everything from gut dysbiosis to women's health to menopause. I'm doing one on proper supplementation, and you'll leave with a gift bag of everything that you need to heal this cycle.
Thank you so much. I
can't wait to meet you, my friend. Morrison, is that your name?
Morton, yes.
Martin. I look forward to meeting you, brother. And
so same as I thank you so much. You're a lifesaver.
Yeah, that was that was a great talk. It
was so good. Blew my mind.
I've never gotten a standing ovation like that. I felt like the Beatles. You know, I got bum rushed on the stage. It was such a great audience, and I'll really look forward to meeting you in London in another week and a half.
You deserved it. It was amazing. Thank you so much. I can't wait to meet you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're really welcome. Wow, we're really reaching the world here. This is amazing. Guys, I'm going to, when we fix these people, I'm going to bring them back on, to inspire you as VIPs, to show you that the body can heal itself. Every 84 days, nearly every live cellular structure in the body turns over. So if I met you today and I met you 84 days later, you would be a completely different human being sitting in front of me. So I don't know why it is that we think that healthy cells can become sick, but we don't believe that sick cells can become healthy. We don't think we can shift the metabolism of our cellular biology back to healthy metabolism, and we can. And the answer is not chemicals, synthetics, and pharmaceuticals. The answer is human physiology, going back into human physiology and repairing the broken part of the God-given human physiology so that it can heal itself. It's not me doing the healing. It's not the supplement doing the healing. It's the body doing the healing. And very often we are so nutrient deficient that this deficiency, this poor guy had very likely had leaky gut, the immune system showed up and started to attack contents, rightfully so, that were exiting his colon and going into his bloodstream that would have caused worse consequences. And what did we do? We held the immune system responsible for a crime it wasn't committing. And we punished the immune system for showing up to get the perpetrator. It's like arresting the police officer for capturing the bank robber. It's mind-numbing to me. And we suppress the immune system, right? Immunosuppressants. Unless you've had an organ transplant, I'm not a big fan of immunosuppressants. So we suppress the immune system, and then we hit you with massive anti-inflammatories. So now guess what's happening? Immune system's not protecting you. The anti-inflammatories don't let you know that the process is going. And guess what? The leaky gut continues. So BPC 157, bone broths, repopulating the gut with things like 38 Terra and BioComplete 3 and really, really good probiotics. You see the changes that he made in his life. He got off of medication just by changing his diet. Why did the diet matter? Because the nutrients mattered. He was nutrient deficient. That's why the diet mattered. So it's just so good to see. It's not good to hear these stories. Don't take me wrong, but it's so good that people are now curious and they're fed up and they're trying to get the right answers. Okay, what do we got? Karen? Hi, Karen.
Hi, happy birthday for Sunday that you had.
Oh, yeah, September 21st. You know, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Do you remember the 21st night of September? That's my birthday song. Even though it was written before I was born, I still take credit for the song.
Oh, beautiful. And I'm so looking forward to seeing you. When you come to Melbourne. So that's a buzz. I keep talking about you. So
oh, thank you.
Everyone knows about you from me.
Really? Okay. Maybe you're why so many tickets got sold. Thank you. What do we got?
So what's happened is I've got either tendinosis or bursitis in the shoulder. Really painful. It's they've done an ultrasound and they said it's not a tear, but they haven't given me the results.
Okay.
So I'm looking at what I can do, because even just turning on the light in the airplane is intense pain.
Okay.
And also to build my muscles. I want to be strong. I want to be healthy. Really, really, really want to do something about this.
So, so 3 things you can do to build muscle. At your age, you are experiencing something called sarcopenia, which is age-related muscle wasting. So without weight training, you will lose more muscle every year than your body gains. 3 things that fight this. Peptides are the best to fight this. You may want to write this down. So there are growth hormone peptides. Now remember, these are not growth hormone. I'm not a fan of taking growth hormone from outside the body and putting it in. What I am a fan of is rewinding the pituitary gland to a more youthful level of growth hormone secretion. There are multiple growth hormone peptides that I'm a huge fan of. Many of these are sold by Peptual, so you could actually go to the Peptual website, which I believe you can get in Australia. If not, you can find a functional medicine practitioner. You want to take Sermorelin, Sermorelin, Sermorelin / Ipamorelin. Those are the growth hormone releasing hormone and growth hormone releasing peptides. Those are excellent at helping you build muscle at any age. The second one, if that's not available, is something called Tesamorelin. That's the most powerful growth hormone peptide. You can run these consistently 5 days on and 2 days off, Monday through Friday, weekends off. It will build muscle at an alarming rate. If you really want to maintain healthy levels of muscle, growth hormone peptides are absolutely the way to do it. It is critical that you take all 9 of the essential amino acids. My favorite way to do that is Perfect Amino. You can take all 9 of the essential amino acids, especially in older females. We have protein metabolism issues, men too. As we age, we become less adept at taking the protein that we eat, meat, fish, eggs, vegan protein, whatever it is, and converting it into the amino acids. So I prefer to skip that step and make sure that my body has all 9 of the essential amino acids. And then it's critical to do weight training. Obviously, you don't want to weight train on that shoulder, but simple things. air squats, body weight air squats, walking lunges, static holding of weights. If you can curl your arms, then curling the weights. Usually with the bursitis, it's the overhead motions that are the problem. But when the arm is static or pinned against the frame, you can actually do weight training exercises. It's actually best to start with bands, which is called progressive resistance, because the resistance increases as the muscle gets stronger. So when I'm extended, my muscle is the weakest. When I'm contracted, my muscle is the strongest. So if I increase the weight or the resistance as I get stronger, that is a very, very good way to build muscle. And it's an absolute must. If you can get the peptide patch, the BPC 157 patch from Peptual, I would be wearing that 3 days a week. If you can't, I would try to order oral BPC 157 or injectable BPC 157. This will help heal the bursitis region like a Wolverine. The last thing is contrast therapy, intermittent heat and cold. So you can actually lay down in a warm bath, let that area of the body get really, really warm, and then sit up in the bathtub, bringing your shoulder out of the water and actually applying an ice compress. Leaving the ice compress on there for 2 or 3 minutes, setting that beside the tub, sinking back down into the hot water, and allowing it to warm up again. The problem with bursitis, tendinitis, ligaments and tendons in general is they have compromised areas of blood flow. So they're very slow to heal. So by actually vascularly contracting and expanding, contract, expand, you actually flood that area with blood and accelerate the healing. So if you took a growth hormone peptide, if you took the BPC 157 peptide, if you did that contrast therapy that I am talking about, and you took perfect aminos, you would be well on your way to healing.
I've secured some perfect aminos. A friend was visiting in USA and is bringing me some today, I hope.
It's secured. It's like smuggling, like.
Well, she was worried she was smuggling.
Smuggling amino acids, for the love of God, where does the world come to?
I know.
When you can't bring amino acids. You can also get H2 tabs in Australia. You can order them on Health, HEALF. You can go to the Health website, HEALF, and you can order H2 tab in Australia. Game changer.
And just on the end of that, as I'm saying goodbye, I'm really interested in the mold infection testing. So as soon as you can access
by the
that,
time I get there and do my stage talk, I will find a test in Australia that you can do.
That'd be wonderful. And something like the Vibrant Wellness test too would be wonderful.
Yes, ma'am. Yep.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I look forward to meeting you. Sean? Sunny, put your camera on. Sean, how you doing, buddy?
Good, how are you?
Awesome, man.
Thanks for taking my question.
Yeah, of course.
You're a legend. You definitely made a huge impact on my life, so I just wanted to say thank you before I get going.
Wow. Thank you, man. That means a lot to me.
Absolutely.
Really.
Yeah, thank you. So this question is for my wife. She's been dealing with sciatica pain and a chest pain for years. Like we've been together 15 years. The sciatic pain, it's like she'll go weeks without symptoms, and it'll go from like the left to right. It'll shoot down her leg. There'll be times where she'll literally have to like crawl to the washroom.
Okay.
Chest pain, we always thought it was like heartburn. Right now, it's like directly in the middle of her chest, and she feels pain in the back as well. So we've kind of been going down the gut road to see if that's maybe what's going on. So the things that we've done, obviously, multiple doctors, jumped around. Nobody really can figure out the root cause. Did a G test. She is MTHFR positive, so I got her on a methylated multivitamin.
Excellent.
She had low iron at one point, so she's been taking some iron supplements. Went to a naturopath. They got her on berberine and DGL. Not too sure what they're doing, but
those are root and blood sugar control. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then one thing that does concern me a little bit, she does take a lot of Tylenol for the pain. So I don't know if they're fueling it or helping.
Yes.
Chiropractor weekly. Currently, she's done physio with little results.
Okay.
They did find a degenerative disc in her lumbar. So I don't know if that's related. Done a food sensitivity test, cut out everything that she's sensitive to, almost no results. Things we haven't done yet, a GI map and Dutch test. I don't know if those could be related. So anyway, that's the bulk of it. Based on that, where would we go next and what should we focus on, I guess is my question.
Okay. So sciatica rarely, if ever, is bilateral. So true sciatica is almost always, in 99% of the cases, it is confined to a single limb. So she actually doesn't have sciatica. She has sciatica-like symptoms, but this is coming from this central spinal cord. When things are alternating left and right sides of the body or identical on both sides of the body, you've actually, you meet at the central point, okay? Otherwise, I would be thinking things like piriformis syndrome, things like that, that actually cause true sciatica. So I want you to write this word down for me. Dermatome. I want you to look at the L2, 3, 4, and 5 dermatome. A dermatome is, when you Google this, it will show you a chart, and what it will show you is the pain pattern. So in other words, if the pain is sciatica, goes down the back of the leg and stops at the knee, that's a certain spinal level. If it goes past the knee and goes down to the ankle, that's a different spinal level. If it wraps around the front of the leg and goes into the toes, that's a different spinal level. What you're going to find is the dermatome and her pain pattern matches the level where she has this disc herniation or disc bulge. And it's that disc herniation or disc bulge that is causing the issue. So 3 things to do for that. Number 1, she has to be on hydrogen tablets. Number 2, bathing in hydrogen-rich water would be amazing for her. And number 3, I have a video on the VIP somewhere of a sink stretch. It's called a sink stretch. This is a critical stretch for her because it's a decompression stretch. It is a traction stretch. If you're getting chiropractic done, it is important that you talk to your chiropractor about decompression, treating her with decompression therapy. No rotary motion, no rotary manipulations. Do not allow them to put the leg in this position and crank the spine. You know, they'll touch this shoulder, they'll touch this leg. I'm trying to do it in the chair, and they will rotary crank the spine. That is the worst thing for disc herniations and disc bulges and radiating sciatica. So if your chiropractor is doing that, get a different chiropractor. Ask if they have something called a flexion distraction table. Flexion distraction is exactly what it sounds like. They put the spine in flexion, they flex it to gap it, and then they traction it. Very often, flexion and distraction pulls fluid back into that joint, synovial fluid, and helps lubricate the disc and alleviate the symptom. The last thing is that sink stretch is critically important. 2 feet on the ground, 2 feet over the edge of the sink, leaning back, dropping all the way to the ground, arching her back to really fan the facets and pull fluid into that spine. The last thing that I would suggest if you're here in the States is I would order the BPC 157 GHKCU NAD patch, and 3 days a week I would have her wear that patch for 12 hours. And I would wear the patch as close to the disc bulge site as possible. There is a pad that you soak with the peptide. Put that pad right over the spot in her back that bothers her and allow it to dispense BPC 157 for 12 hours a day along with NAD into that site to reduce the inflammation.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. I'm in Canada, so if the H2 tabs come up here, I'll be your first customer. So
okay. We will find a way to smuggle them there. We're smuggling, amino acids into Australia right now. I feel like we're just like trying to get fentanyl over the border. I mean, it's like it's amino acids, guys. You know.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great one. So cool to see such a global reach with all these people. Hi, Suni.
Hi.
There we go. Oh, hi.
Gary, I'm so happy to meet you. Thank you for taking my call or my
I'm
questions.
so happy to meet you too. What part of the world are you in?
I am in Montana. I actually just moved from Naples. I didn't realize you lived there.
Yeah, that's where I
Yeah.
started. That's where we started our functional medicine clinic on 41 Vanderbilt Beach Road. A
One
little
day
tiny
I
strip mall.
actually I didn't go to Seed to Table and you did a podcast there. I was so disappointed I didn't go that day.
Yeah, I'm gonna do another one. It was a great podcast. Alfie's a good friend. I love Seed to Table. I actually went out to their organic field, and he proved that you could pick vegetables by 9 a.m. and have them on the shelf by 2 p.m. in the store. I thought it was amazing.
That's grocery store.
Yeah, but Montana's a great place too. That's God's
Yes.
country for sure. Yeah.
So I was curious. You keep talking. Sometimes you mention you can download the protocol. I
Yeah.
actually wanted to print it. Is that possible?
You have to screenshot it and print it. The reason is I really want this information to be for VIPs. People have had a tendency
Okay.
to just take all these and then just repost them to social media.
Okay.
And my intention is to really build this group into what I think will become a movement that could legitimately change the world. And so, you pay me good money every month, and I spend so much time on these that I want you guys to have access to them. You could screenshot them and print them,
Okay.
if you wanted to. But it's just to try to control some of the dispersion of the information, so my VIPs really do get the value that they're paying for.
That makes sense. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to put it in a binder, so I was thinking about doing
Yeah.
that.
I love that.
Yeah. So, and when you mentioned the podcast with Barbara, are you going to have that on your app today?
Yeah, today.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm really
And then,
excited for that.
and then a lot of you guys, I also did a VIP podcast with her. So a lot of you VIPs
Oh.
ask private questions. So the private podcast is there for you too. Make sure you watch those. You guys
Yeah,
can
I
ask
didn't see that.
questions to my guests. So you're the only ones that I tell who's coming on my podcast ahead of time. I don't tell anyone who's coming except my VIPs. And then you submit questions. And at the end of my podcast, I turn the cameras off. And that's the podcast for the public. And then I turn the cameras back on and I go through all the VIP questions. So if you have a favorite, practitioner, MD, PhD, researcher that's going to come on my podcast, or even if it's just a celebrity like a Dana White and you want to ask them questions, submit the question and I will use your name and I will ask them the question and they will answer your question directly. That's another benefit you get as a VIP are these private podcasts. So if you guys aren't taking advantage of that, please take advantage of it because, there were lots of amazing questions for Barbara O'Neill. A lot of it was related to female issues, menopause, perimenopause. There was a lot of fetal issues, a lot of breastfeeding issues, a lot of, fertility issues, questions, and she answered all of them. So make sure that you watch the podcast, but that you also, because you're a VIP, just listen to the questions that were asked by your fellow VIPs and listen to her answer.
I definitely will. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I actually, while doing this detox, I just was recently found out I was pregnant. I've been pregnant for about a month. So I wanted to ask you if I'm okay to do the metal and mold detox.
So gut binders are safe.
Okay.
I would avoid parasitic cleansing like fenbendazole, ivermectin when you're pregnant.
Okay.
Gut binders are very safe. Charcoal binders, zeolite binders, silica clay binders, very safe. Doing lower temperature sauna sessions are fine. Warm baths are fine. But remember, what you can do to detox when you're pregnant is make sure that you keep your mineral content high. Baja
Okay.
Gold Salt. Make sure you're taking H2 tabs, hydrogen tablets. These cross the blood-brain barrier and are excellent for restoring what's called redox homeostasis. And this is a balance between oxidation and reduction. Super important for pregnancy. So they're very good for you. And I would absolutely be on a methylated prenatal vitamin. Thorne makes an excellent one. They make an excellent methylated prenatal. Cell wall adhesion, the adhesion between the uterine wall and what will eventually become the amniotic sac and the amniotic filled with amniotic fluid. That's really critical to the life cycle of the fetus, as is methylfolate. That's what prevents neural tube defects, not folic acid. So fight your OBGYN on that if they tell you to take folic acid. In fact, the HHS and CDC recommendations just shifted yesterday on this.
Yeah, I heard you saying that this morning. I was jotting that down because I'm trying to eat a lot of food that focuses on folate acid.
Yeah,
You know, because I know
right.
that the OBG, they're going to push so much, and I'm trying to be patient for it. So
Yeah.
really quick then also, what about castor oil? I use castor oil a lot and I've stopped.
Yes.
I can
Yes,
still use it
castor
when I'm
oil.
pregnant. Okay.
No, castor oil is fine. You know, it
Yay.
becomes a soluble fatty acid in the body. You can use castor oil packs on your belly. In fact,
Oh,
Barbara,
okay.
I almost said Barbara Sturm, Barbara O'Neill and I talked all about this healthy pregnancy, healthy fetus. This is such a good, timely podcast. I think it's already out, right? Oh yeah, it's already out. Yeah. So,
Yay.
so you're ready to watch it.
I'm excited. Okay, that and can I take milk thistle?
You can take milk thistle for your liver. Yes, milk
Okay.
thistle is also safe during pregnancy.
And then I also take all the RHO supplements.
Yes, so those rose supplements in the prescribed dosage are fine.
Awful.
Again, glutathione, the most prevalent antioxidant in the human body. I'm trying to produce these on my own right now. It's really, really. I want a GMP certified lab, and so I've been working on this for months. So pretty soon I'll have them on my own. But for now, the rose supplements are excellent for you.
Thank you. Only one
Yeah.
more to ask you. I'm very
Sure.
high on one mold, and I noticed that said you can take NAC.
Yes, N-acetylcysteine is excellent for phlegm, mucus, and also very good for mold. And
Okay.
take it in the NAC is they also use it for detoxing from acetaminophen poisoning. It is also safe during pregnancy. N-acetylcysteine.
Oh, thank you so much, Gary.
Yeah,
I know
you're
we're up on time.
Yeah, you're super welcome.
I'm so excited. Thank you.
I'm so excited too. Enjoy Montana. Will a keto guide work if they are not on insulin, but they are insulin resistant? Absolutely, a keto guide will work. You know, what we want to do is take the pressure off the pancreas, what's called the beta cells of the pancreas, the islets that are making insulin. What the issue with becoming insulin resistant is not too little insulin. It's too much insulin, right? It's hyper secreting insulin because it's not lowering your blood sugar. So what we need to do is bring the blood sugar down naturally, take the inflammation out of the pancreas, allow those cells to heal, and then begin to produce insulin that is more sensitive. We want to be insulin sensitive, not insulin resistant. A 10-week keto guide reset is excellent for doing that. Clint? Hey, Clint.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good, man. Love the background.
Good. Yeah, I was on a couple months ago. So I was on here a couple months ago. I had fainted one night at a concert, partying too much. Ever since, I've been kind of messed up, lightheaded, near syncope, a couple bouts of AFib, dizzy, fight or flight. You had told me to get a viral panel, which I did. CMV, no antibodies. West Nile, nothing. Lyme's, nothing. Epstein-Barr came back. IgG was greater than 8.0. The IgM was less than 0.20, so non-reactive. Is that the current, I think? So I have the
IgM is a current infection. IgG is a past infection.
So I did have past infection of Epstein-Barr. I went to a functional medicine clinic, got 72 biomarkers taken, basically through blood work. Come back, she said I was highly inflammatory, just my body was inflamed, enlarged red blood cells, high in ferritin, high homocysteine, low B12, low vitamin D, a little low on the testosterone and thyroid as well. Put me on kind of a paleo diet right now. She also said I was insulin resistant. So you were just talking about that. I don't know how they tell that with one blood test, but she said insulin resistant.
Yeah, your insulin is high and your hemoglobin A1C is also high.
Okay, it was 5.4 was the A1C.
Yeah, so your insulin is probably in the double digits.
So I do have the glucose monitor on now. I've actually went below 55 twice in the last 2 days. I just started wearing it 2 days ago. The highest I think it's been that I've seen is 140.
That's not bad at all.
Gave me a bunch of supplements. I haven't really started them yet because I'm trying to wean off. I was on Flecainide and Metropolo and a blood thinner from the couple AFib bouts that I've had. Now my electrophysiologist said I could come off of those.
Excellent.
So I'm in the process now of kind of weaning off of those. So I didn't know if the Epstein Barr still had anything to play with all this happening.
It probably did at the time. But it's critical that you're on the vitamin D3 with K2, critical that you're on the vitamin B12, especially since you're clinically deficient in those. This is why your red blood cells are enlarged. So you have something called hyperhemoglobinemia, which is too much hemoglobin in the red blood cell. As soon as you begin to take methylated multivitamins, it will actually normalize the size of the red blood cell. Also, you have high homocysteine. So absolutely lowering homocysteine will be a game changer for you. I would be taking 1,000 milligrams of TMG, trimethylglycine, in a gel capsule. Life Extension, I make one, 10X Health. But taking 2 of those gel capsules in the morning to lower the homocysteine, metabolize the homocysteine, that's critical to this process. So trimethylglycine, the B12, both of those are involved in nerve transmission. Also the vitamin D3 with K2 is critical. I would also definitely be on hydrogen water every day. I would be taking H2 tab every day religiously first thing in the morning. In your case, I would take 2 tablets instead of a single tablet, and drinking that glass. And when it's very, very cloudy and full of hydrogen gas, drinking the entire thing back. You want to improve the microvascular circulation, and you want to reduce the inflammation. Very often, the atrial fibrillation comes from thick blood, high hematocrit, but it also comes from thick blood and constricted vessels. So high hematocrit, thick blood with high homocysteine. These are cardiovascular disasters. They're very easy to control. Regular therapeutic phlebotomy, which is a fancy word for just regular blood donation, keeps the blood thin. Lowering the homocysteine relaxes the peripheral vasculature. So trimethylglycine to bring the homocysteine down, and regular blood donations to keep the blood viscosity, the thinness of your blood, in the normal range. But starting on those supplements from a good functional medicine doctor, and already I can tell by just the testing that you're telling me got done, they're probably a very good practitioner. So I would trust what they're saying. And I would definitely start that supplement protocol, adding hydrogen rich water, the hydrogen gas to your daily routine, and the TMG.
Okay. So so she kind of on paleo. So the first week, it's only been like a week or 9 days, but kind of the paleo diet. So I really cut out most carbs. Would that be why? Like, is 55 seems pretty low on the blood sugar? Is that?
Yeah, that's why 55 seems pretty low. On paleo, you can have carbs. You just have like sweet potatoes and cauliflower rice, and you have what's called slow burn carbohydrates, not fast burn carbohydrates. So instead of white potatoes, you have sweet potatoes. Instead of white rice, you'll have things like cauliflower rice. So if you stick to the paleo diet, which was an excellent recommendation, which is a pretty broad diet. I mean, basically, it's if your great grandmother wouldn't recognize it, don't eat it. I mean, it's kind of the paleo diet. And you start on the methylated nutrients that they gave you. I think you're going to see a tremendous change in the damage that was probably caused by high Epstein-Barr.
Okay. Awesome.
Awesome, brother.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Can't wait to have you on again. Okay. I've got a little under 10 minutes, so let's try to get to as many people as we can. And like I said, I got lots of time on airplanes coming, guys. So I like to be efficient on airplanes. So I will make sure that I get to all of these questions and personally respond to you. So again, if I didn't get to your question today, don't worry, I will respond. I am dedicated to this group. Okay, so let's fire it up. There we go. Is it Jack?
You got it. Yeah.
Hey, Jack, what's going on, buddy?
Well, it's a real pleasure to meet you finally.
Pleasure to meet you too, Jack.
I'm going to try and be efficient, so I wrote it up. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm 58 years old. I had not seen doctors for 25 years. In 2018, I bought a blood pressure cuff and discovered I had high blood pressure. So went to the doctors, and long story short, high blood pressure, about 300/200 at that time.
300/200?
Yeah, it was pretty bad. And
okay.
They put me onto amlodipine and losartan, which, I went through a few, but that got me to the 120/80. Now, time goes on. 2023, I went and got a heart score, a CAC score, and I have 110 calcium on the left ventricle. That's the only problem I got from that. long story short, I gave up on doctors in 2024, switched over to Function Health just for getting all of my metrics and monitoring. With Function Health, I have basically 17 out of range. Heart is basically the focus of that. ApoB, HDL large, LDL patterns, it's all heart stuff. I also have
Lipo little a?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
And then I've got immune regulation. That's not really big. CRP is just a little bit. I was at 30 when I first went to see the functional doctors, and I got down to 0. So I know it's all
on high sensitivity C-reactive protein.
Yeah. So
good.
Really good.
That's excellent.
All diet and exercise.
Excellent.
And then the kidney is also another issue. I got what they call stage 3 kidney disease. So creatine 9 and GFR is around 50.
Okay. So if your GFR is 50, that means that you probably have slightly elevated BUN and slightly elevated creatinine. So your BUN creatinine ratio will be off. Your blood urea nitrogen and your creatinine levels will be slightly high. One of the best things we can do to improve kidney filtration is to take trimethylglycine to make sure that that vasculature is dilated. Hydrogen is excellent for this. I know I keep sounding like I'm just trying to sell hydrogen gas. I am. It's excellent for these. Some of the smallest vasculature in the body is in the nephrons. It's in the nephrotic tissue. It's highly susceptible to inflammation. The other thing that's critically important are mineral salts. Baja Gold liquid minerals would be excellent for you. The kidney is an organ of methylation, and it actually demineralizes a lot of contents in the blood and then dumps it into the bladder for evacuation. So lowering the inflammation there is an excellent idea for you. Are you still on blood pressure medication?
No.
Do you know what your homocysteine level is?
I'd have to look it up, but I can.
Okay. I'm going to guess that your homocysteine is elevated just by what you're telling me. It's above 7. So
when I got this blood test taken, I was around 30% body fat.
Yeah.
Working diligently, I've got down to 13% now.
Yeah, you look lean. That's great. Okay, that's
really,
that's excellent for you.
Okay, so really big into peptides because I've been following you. Every morning I do take the water with lemon and the Baja, so I'm on to that.
Good.
Okay, and peptide wise, it's there's a new one called Clo, which I take, which TB500, BBC, GHK2,
yes,
and HPV. So
yes, great.
And then I guess the question is, how do I rejuvenate the kidneys? You said TMG and
yeah. So I would go to Peptrol and I would get the 12-hour patch. Okay, so bolus dosing of peptides is good in a healthy endocrine system. Slow, prolonged dosing is better. So I would look at the BPC 157 GHKCU NAD patch. I think you'll find that this will work miracles for your EGFR, which is your glomerular filtration rate, the rate of flow of blood through the kidney. As you start to increase the flow rate, you will decrease the poison levels. You will see blood urea nitrogen and creatinine begin to drop as the filtration rate increases. Super important to control your homocysteine level. So it's probably critical that you take TMG, trimethylglycine. I would switch to a 12-hour dispensing patch rather than the bolus dosing on the peptides. That's the only change that I would make to your peptide protocol. You can get those from Peptrol. They'll send them right to your front door. And monitoring your homocysteine level is critical. For calcium, remember that vitamin D3 is a calcium transport molecule. If you take vitamin D3 with K2, it will deposit the calcium into the bone and not into the arterial wall. So one of the best things that you can take if you have calcified plaques is vitamin D3 with K2. There are liquid versions, there are oral versions. I would take a minimum of 5,000 IUs of vitamin D3 with K2 so that the calcium no longer deposits into the arterial wall. In your case, it was into the the wall of the valve. And I would make sure that I'm taking the D3 with K2. That's a critical supplement. Yeah, you're welcome, Jack. Okay, last one. So let's fire it up. The lucky winner. These are great questions. I hope you guys are paying attention to these. Even if it's not your specific question, generally a loved one, either you or a loved one, has a similar issue. So is this Linda?
It's so nice to meet you. I'm new to the community. I joined after the FCA event, so thank you so much for coming out to the chiropractic convention. We so appreciate it.
Yeah, you're super. That was a great event.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for representing.
Yeah, had the greatest questions, you know. I mean, you're doctors, so I expected that, but
so my best friend Emily is 28 years old. She is 6 months postpartum. She is experiencing some pretty severe eczema flares and has had them kind of since she was younger, but not really with any resolve. They've been kind of on and off. While she was pregnant, it helped resolve in some way, but she's been to an allergist, an immunologist, 2 different primaries, a derm, and a rheumatologist. She doesn't have any HLA-B27 factors. She doesn't have any other systemic inflammation factors that they've noted. I haven't done any specific testing on her myself, but just based on her case, I wanted to see if you have any recommendations as far as where we should start with getting her better.
No question. So for immediate reduction in her eczema symptoms, just get the hydrogen bombs that you can put into the bath. And if she soaks in warm water saturated with hydrogen gas for 25 minutes at night, it will be a game changer for the flare-ups and the intensity on the surface of the skin. So will massively drop the inflammation visibly even after a single bath. And that will just help her deal with the discomfort. The question is, where is the eczema, the psoriasis coming from? It is coming from the liver and the gut using the skin as a secondary route of waste elimination. So we have 2 types of sweating. We have passive sweating, we have active sweating. Passive sweating is we sweat to reduce body temperature. Active sweating is we sweat to eliminate waste. It's a similar mechanism when we eliminate waste through the skin. It usually has a tendency to pull around the joint areas, in soft tissue areas of the joint, sometimes on the elbows. It can be anywhere. It can go to the neck, eczema and psoriasis, but it goes to the areas where the liver and the gut use the skin as a secondary route of waste elimination. So the most important thing is to take really good care of the liver. So 3 things that she can take: regular daily glutathione, liposomal glutathione, milk thistle, and I would start her on a supplement called 38 Terra. It is Dr. Buskowitz's supplement for repopulating the flora of the gut. If she doesn't have gut dysbiosis, she has microflora dysbiosis, which is asymptomatic. And so a lot of the bacteria that digest the contents that get pushed to the skin are missing in the gut. This could be for a whole host of reasons: antibiotics when she was younger, massive antibiotics as an infant, massive antibiotics as a prepubescent teen, especially if she's had this all of her life and she has no genetic predisposition. This is generally coming from a class of bacteria that are virtually absent in the gut. So those compounds that should be digested and eliminated are then either turned into gases or turned into phytochemicals that are pushed out through the skin, and they're very irritating to the surface capillaries of the skin and the subdermal layer of the skin, hence eczema and psoriasis. So I would be soaking in hydrogen baths. That will immediately just get the hydrogen bombs. Throw about 15 or 20, 25 of those in a bathtub. She will thank you for this, because after the first bath, she will have noticeably reduced symptoms. It will not fix the eczema. We have to fix the eczema and psoriasis from the inside out. And in order to do that, I would start her on the BPC 157 peptide, preferably the patch, so we heal and seal the gut. I would start her on a supplement called 38 Terra to repopulate the gut, and I would be taking milk thistle and liposomal glutathione for the liver. Those would be my suggestions. Okay. Oh, you muted yourself.
I muted myself. I have my infant with me. Sorry, he was.
Oh, you do. That's okay. We love infants.
But, and then just separately, since I am a new mom as well, with the findings, with the changes and everything with the CDC and injections and all that stuff, what would you say is the best course of action for recommendations for my patients and personally for what it looks like moving forward for childhood vaccines?
Okay, so what is coming out now is the causal relationship between vaccination and autism. I think you are going to see in the next 12 to 18 months there is a correlated relationship between vaccines and autism. I think what you're about to see is a causal relationship between vaccines and autism. And here's the issue. There are 3 issues with the vaccines. Number 1, there are 79 vaccines on the schedule. Number 2, the vast majority of these vaccines do not have a medical rationale for the vaccine. Hepatitis B, for example, sexually transmitted through intravenous drug use, yet we give it to infants on the first day of life, even to non-Hep B positive mothers. The second issue is grouping of the vaccines, measles, mumps, rubella. We do sometimes as many as 7 vaccines at the same time. We study the vaccines in silos, then we inject the vaccines in groups. So in other words, we do the independent study on the vaccine, and then we just give them all at the same time. So, you know, if you drank 1 beer, you're fine. If you drank 1 shot of whiskey, you're fine. But if you had a shot of whiskey, a shot of tequila, a full beer, a glass of wine, a white wine, a red wine, you put all those together, and now and the argument is, well, individually they're fine. Yeah, but all of those together is a disaster. That's a sort of the example that I come up with. The other is the presence of inoculants. So these are things like aluminum. Mercury is now gone, thank God. But the other one are things like aluminum. So when you actually put aluminum attenuation in vaccines, you light the immune system up. The final thing that is coming out in this report is the first true correlated study looking at the unvaccinated population versus the vaccinated population. We actually just arrested in Germany the former CDC scientist who now has physically altered and buried the information on vaccine safety. There's something called the Adverse Reporting Database, where you take adverse events from vaccines, and that lands in a database. That database then populates the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control, to say, hey, here are all the adverse events. And those adverse events lead to something called informed consent, so that a mother that's going to vaccinate her child can say, okay, here's your risk of autism, ADD, ADHD, neuroinflammatory disorders, what have you. What we are about to find out is that, or what's about to become public, is that the risk of the disease, mortality from the disease versus the risk of complication from the vaccine is actually outweighed. The efficacy of the vaccine is less than the natural infection. And that list is going to be published so that mothers can actually make an informed choice. That's all this is about making an informed choice. It's not saying, hey, don't vaccinate your kid. It's just saying, here are the risks. You have a 1 in 5,000 chance of harm with this vaccine. You have a 1 in 100,000 chance of harm if they have a natural infection. So you have 5 times the risk of an adverse event with the vaccine than you do with the natural infection. And each of these will be mapped to the specific vaccine. I mean, just imagine 18 vaccines in the first 18 months of life.
Yeah.
79 vaccines if you follow the entire schedule, and 0 liability for vaccine manufacturers. None, even for known harm. That is the thing that is so mind-numbing to me. You make a product that you know causes harm, and you have no liability, you have blanket liability. We would never do this to cigarette companies. We'd never do this to vape companies. We'd never do this to car manufacturers. We'd never do it to chemical manufacturers. Well, we're about to. And so, that's the mind-numbing part.
Yeah, it's a shame. Well, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate you taking my questions. I hope you have a great day.
Yeah, I hope so too. Oh my God, you guys are amazing. Okay. One more. Yeah, let's try to get it. We'll get 30 seconds. Actually, I'll give you more than 30 seconds.
Hey,
hi there.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you again too.
Yeah, thanks for everything. In the interest of time, I'll keep it short to a specific question that I have. A year and a half back, I removed my 3rd molar, left lower 3rd molar teeth. That's the wisdom teeth. Again, regular dentist. And then they've been kind of pushing me to kind of, hey, you know what, you need an implant and all that. It's a year and a half now, right? And it's a regular dentist. It's not a biological dentist. There is no biological dentist near me. I need to kind of travel over an hour and a half.
Where are you?
I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Okay.
So the question for you is, there is one, but then they are not taking new patients, and it's like a 9-month wait list, right? So the question for you is, I have my regular cleaning, scheduled. I want to make sure that there are no cavitations. I mean, considering the
Yes.
problems that my wife has, right? 20 years
Yes.
of all this torture. I want to make sure that I don't have any cavitations. And then should I actually put an implant in the future is the question.
If you're going to put in an implant, put in a zirconian implant, not a titanium implant. That is critical. I would rather not have the tooth than have a battery and an antenna. Think that becomes a battery and it becomes an antenna. So you need sodium, metal, water to create a battery, right? We have sodium ion batteries. I would also, in the meantime, get something, this is very specific, called a cone beam X-ray. So get and if it's not a biologic dentist, don't have them read the X-ray, just have them take the X-ray. This is a 360-degree X-ray. It's very low radiation, it's very safe. I would get a cone beam X-ray, and I would send the cone beam X-ray to Dr. Gandhi's office, Jigar Gandhi's office. Even if he doesn't see you as a patient, if you tell him you're one of my VIPs, he will read the X-ray for you, and he will say, you have a cavitation or you don't have a cavitation, and then you can take it from there.
Okay, great. Thanks. Thanks, Gary. Yeah.
You're super welcome. I'm excited for this journey for your wife too. We're not done with her. Okay. Oh, that's a wrap for today's VIP Q&A. Was that 2 hours? Holy cow, man. I swear that time, I don't know if that flies for you, but it flies